And we will bring a direct flight to Amritsar. We will rebuild the Canada that we know and love, a Canada where it doesn't matter if your name is Martin or Mohammed, Singh or Smith, Polyev or Patel.
I think the so-called consensus about immigration was always exaggerated in the media. I think Canadians have always been opposed to high immigration. Just no politician was able to say it. But it's at such a critical mass. Apparently there's 4.9 million people in Canada on a temporary basis whose tenure here expires at the end of 2025. I mean, just the logistics of them going home would be 100,000 a week. That's not going to happen. And I think there's three things, and I'd love it if you respond to this. First of all, the sheer number of immigrants is so shocking to people that it's now around 2 million a year by all categories. I'm going to use the word fraud. Some are fraudulent, like fake refugee claimants, but also fake students who go to these diploma mills in strip malls and say, I'm here as a student. There's a million so-called foreign students in Canada. There are not a million Canadian students in Canada. And finally, there's the cultural baggage. We see battles between Sikhs and Hindus, between pro-Hamas protesters and the Jewish community they're targeting. I feel like you got three big problems: sheer numbers, people feeling taken advantage of, Canadians saying we're being tricked and taken as fools, and finally, something I'm very alive to, we brought in a wave of anti-Semitism, and there's other foreign diaspora battles I don't even quite understand. I think all three things are rooted in immigration. What do you have to think?
Oh, 100%. Look, I've always been very, very clear on immigration as an immigrant myself. As I told you, when I first came here as a student, these were problems I was seeing even back then. I remember as a grad student here in Ottawa, anti-Semitism is something that I would, I speak to with some of my professors, because some of these, the campuses, university campuses in Canada were really you had these student movements on these campuses which were virulently anti-Semitic. And this was 2007, 2008, when I was a student. And, it was just shrugged off and, it's not a big deal. It's not, nothing to take seriously. Yes, it exists, but, let's move on, and that was the end of the matter. But it's, and I remember tweeting about this when Trudeau announced that he was bringing in a whole bunch of Syrian refugees a few years ago. And I was saying, well, this is going to result in some serious problems in Canada. And I was called a racist and a bigot for pointing that out. So these problems, look, diaspora politics, I've criticized that. My first column in the National Post in 2020 my inaugural column was about diaspora politics. Why are we bringing this nonsense into this country? Look, Trudeau deserves a lot of the blame when he says, Canada's a post-national state and so on. But the roots of this predate Trudeau. Once again, we can't just, it's convenient to keep blaming him for everything. But, we've also, many of us have been sleeping behind the wheel when these things were set in motion. Multiculturalism. When I came as an immigrant, as an international student, and I just didn't understand what this multiculturalism thing was all about. There's no multiculturalism in the U.S. You're American first, and then everything else after. You're American first, and then you want to pray at a Hindu temple, you want to go to the synagogue, you want to go to a mosque, wear your ethnic outfit on a certain occasion, by all means do that, but you're American first. That was never the case that was really never the case in Canada, at least in the 30 years that I've been here. where you're allowed to, in fact, you're encouraged to take on all of these other identities before you become Canadian. And that is the fundamental problem in this country when it comes to, how we deal with immigrants. Where's their desire to integrate? What exactly are they integrating into when they're not? They're just allowed to just, you're Sikh first. Why are Sikhs in this country advocating for a separate homeland in India? I just don't understand that. Why are Hindus and Sikhs in this country battling it out on the streets of Brampton, and Hindus are carrying Indian flags? What is the relevance of the Indian flag in Brampton? I just don't understand that. But this is what we've encouraged. Politicians of all stripes have encouraged this kind of behavior, liberal, conservative. And, to be honest, I am a little concerned. Where's the Conservative Party on this, right? When Pierre Poilievre announces an Air India flight to Amritsar. Why Amritsar?
And we will bring a direct flight to Amritsar. We will rebuild the Canada that we know and love. A Canada where it doesn't matter if your name is Martin or Mohammed, Singh or Smith, Poliev or Patel.
Well, what is the relevance of Amritsar? I don't get it. We used to have a nonstop flight to Mumbai, where I used to live part-time, and that got canceled because it was just not financially viable. So why Amritsar? We've got to stop doing this. Trump won as big as he did without wearing a single turban.
Amritsar is, of course, the Sikh holy city. Am I right in that?
Yeah. What about my holy city?
Yeah.
What about the holy city of
I was just explaining what Amritsar was to folks who might not have remembered.
I just don't. It's infuriating, and it makes me so angry because this is, these are things that we should just be putting an end to this right now, right? And immigrants, I still believe that most people who come here are coming in good faith, and they want a better outcome for them and their families, and they're going to work hard, and they're not going to take advantage of the system. That's been my position for a very, very long time. But I'm not starting to question that. I'm starting to question, well, who are these people? Why are they, bringing in all their grievances here? What is going on here? Why are you carrying the flag of a foreign country on the streets of Canada? What does that have to do with me?
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of ethnic, internal, sort of passionate battles, but I think there's also foreign manipulation. I mean, we've seen reports
100%.
that Iran 100%. Has a lot of operatives here. We know communist China.
It's not just Iran. Yeah. It's not just Iran, Ezra. I would even say it's even India. India is a wily actor in all of this, and it gets away with a lot because it's the fifth largest economy in the world, and it's the world's fastest growing economy. It's the world's largest democracy, but I think Modi's a wily politician, and he knows how to play Canada. Mm-hmm. He knows that we are a divided country. He knows that we are the way we are. He knows that people can go around Brampton carrying the Indian flag, and this plays really, really well for him back in India, and we are just sitting by and watching all of this unfold when our politicians should stop going to temples, they should stop going to gurdwaras, they should stop doing all of these things, they should stop placating diaspora groups, whoever they are, and put Canada first. Because the Canadian put Canada's national interest first above everything.
It'll be interesting to see if Pierre Poilievre uses, if not that language, that idea. And I think you see that same spirit in Nigel Farage and Brexit, in Giorgia Meloni, in Hungary's Viktor Orban, people who are saying, well, we have to put our own country first. They say that often in regards to foreign immigration. It'll be interesting to see if Pierre Poilievre, how far he goes down that way. I think so far he's been successful mainly by talking about financial issues. The carbon tax, crime. I think that he has avoided some of these ethnic issues because he says things are going so well for me. Why would I get step into that trouble.
Well, he's not going to be able to get away from that for far too long, because
No, I think you're right.
issues are, I think they're coming to a head now, and he's going to have to address it at some point, and I hope he does.
Yeah.
And if I were writing for the National Post, I would actually be writing this, urging him to pay attention to these issues, and and really put an end to stop playing diaspora politics, because putting Canada first, as he rightly says, is the most important thing right now. It's not about putting Indo-Canadians first or Sikh Canadians first. It's about putting Canadians first.
On the ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. Members get instant access to all of our shows, invitations to exclusive events, and access to our premium content like live event footage and documentaries you won't see anywhere else. Only Rebel News Plus members can join the conversation by participating in the comments section of our new website. That way you can have your say too. More than anything, though, you'll be able to take pride in supporting real, honest journalism, and you'll help our talented team continue to do the work to push back on the establishment. We really can use your help. We need it, in fact. So thank you, and enjoy Rebel News Plus.